brother, it's time for another episode of Birds with Friends. Just a trio of feathery brethren weathering any season to see the Eagles eating teams like Scrammy's top with cheese. It's Philadelphia, Bo, Sheila, and Zach kicking it cooler than 3 penguins till Zach runs off with his valet keys. He's a real nuanced goose. Pull up a branch, get loose. It's time for some juice on some Birds with Friends. The early bird gets the worm, but prefers getting turned like a turn on some Birds with Friends. Bo, Sheila, and Zach coming at you with stats and things flapping their wings on.
How do you have time to consume all this content? You're listening to Dave Spadaro interviews?
I take a morning bike ride and I listen to
I want to hear more about that, but go ahead.
Let's go, the Schuylkill Trail.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a live on YouTube 1:34 in the morning post-game pod following the Eagles' very unexpected but well-delivered victory over the San Francisco 49ers. They are 1-2-1 and in first place in the NFC East. Zach is yawning up a storm, and we've got Sheil Kapadia. Sheil, how you doing?
I don't think I'm not worried about how I'm doing. I am worried about Z-Berm. I mean, he let out a Papa Kapadia. My dad, when he yawns, it the whole neighborhood is aware. And Z-Berm let one of those rip right before we got on. So I feel okay. It's not too late. I made a promise. I am, if nothing else, a man of my word. I don't know why I made that promise. It was dumb. I only spoke for myself. Bo apparently spoke for Marissa and Zach and everybody with his promise, so that's why we're on YouTube right now.
Zach, we know that you like the early morning pep. This is our first late night pod. How you doing?
It's always nice seeing the three of you. I enjoy the podcast, but I'm eager to write my column. Like in my head, I'm thinking about what I'm gonna write, and it's 1:35 in the morning. And all I've done is transcribe. So how am I? I'm like focused on getting this podcast finished and writing.
The writing part is easy. You've transcribed. We will talk through some of the points here. I found that during some of the pods, we would pod first. And then later when I write, I'm like, well, I already know what I think about this. And now I just got to get it on paper.
I agree. That's great when it's like 5:30 in the afternoon,
right.
But 1:30 in the morning. I mean,
well, let's get to the good stuff. We got a lot with this game to talk about.
Well, very quickly, let's apologize to Marissa for having to drag her on camera.
You apologize.
Yes.
No.
What was this?
Let's was the royal way.
You.
Well, we get to all show off our cool sweatshirts, except Sheil.
I got the old school one.
I do want to give a shout out to the YouTube crowd right now because it is 1:36 in the morning and there's 105 people on here watching.
Wow.
So thank you for
we're
that.
like beating our Friday
We're making
afternoon.
it worth it. And yes, I already took my contacts out. There was a comment about that.
Imagine if we would have done my great idea where I sign on right after the game, Marissa. We could have, who knows? We might have had 1,000 people on here. Everybody was fired up. But, Bo always has the FOMO. So, he wasn't going to let that happen.
Oh, no doubt about that. All right, let's get to the good stuff because, the Eagles go into this game without pretty much everybody on the roster. And it doesn't matter. Travis Fulham, Alex Singleton carry them through. Flashbacks of 2019, the end of that season. Yeah. These also rans taking them through. And, it was a little bit tighter than it maybe needed to be at the end of the game. But I think no doubt about it, an impressive win considering where this team was. I guess let's start with your overall thoughts.
Can
Zach.
I start with the segment? Can I start with this? Can I just hijack it right now?
Sure. Yeah.
All right. We're gonna do a segment.
Just
called,
like I get FOMO, you love to just hijack.
Yeah. We're gonna start with the segment because I feel like I need this. I feel like our listeners need this, and so we're gonna start with the segment called "Who the hell is that?" Okay.
I like this segment.
Okay?
This is
but
something I'm equipped at answering.
Okay.
Yes.
So my first question, I didn't even know that's how you pronounce his name. It's Fulham. The GH is silent.
I think so.
No.
It could be Fulham.
Okay. Well, as the loyal listeners know, when I get into the minutiae, I like to be able to get the pronunciations right. So, all right, let's start with him. Who the hell is Travis Fulham, the player who I think this will be known? We can talk about this later. I think this will be known as the Travis Fulham game. But go ahead.
I can take that one.
Inform
if you
us.
want, Zach. Travis Fulham, a 6th round pick of the Detroit Lions in 2019 out of Old Dominion. and he pulled an Arcega-Whiteside as a rookie. He ran like 30-something snaps, 0 catches in his rookie season. Was released at the beginning of training camp by the Lions, claimed by the Packers. Packers then cut him after 5 days. Then he was claimed by the Eagles. The Eagles at that point had sort of a need for a big body receiver. And he did flash a little bit over the course of training camp. Jalen Mills said today after the game that he was bragging about Travis Fulgham for a while. Like this guy, he hasn't seen this guy drop a single pass. So he is sort of like poor man's Arcega-Whiteside as a prospect, but he's already done more than Arcega-Whiteside has ever done. And the one other thing I can say about Fulgham, if you go back to these Senior Bowl airplane etiquette interviews, the one thing that was interesting about him was he said he always wants to be on the left side of the plane. He's always left side, makes his play down the left sideline. So there you go.
Did he explain why he liked to be on the left side of the
No,
plane?
but he said it for multiple answers. He talked about he needs to be on the left side.
No, well,
He
first
said
of all,
he sleeps on his left side, right?
He sleeps on his left side. That's one of that's
does
right.
he have a pillow recommendation for me? I like to sleep on my left side. Now, you just pronounced his name 7 different ways, by the way. You went Fulham, Fulgham.
I think it's Fulgham.
Yeah, you did go back.
There's
and forth
one thing
there.
that I'm well established at doing. It's sprinkling different things so that I can claim that I was right.
Okay, now you said he flashed during training camp. If I went back and read every practice observations, how many times would he show up in those bad boys? Because I listened to all the training camp pods. I don't remember this guy's name. This was certainly no Michael Jacquet. I can tell you that in terms of training camp pods. I know I didn't notice him when I was there.
Let me see where I ranked him.
He came on later on. He was there the second week of camp.
Okay. All right. So that is Travis Fulgham. That is number 1. Zach, you take
Fulham.
number 2. This is who the hell is Alex Singleton? Now, this is a guy, you guys have talked about. I know he's been written about. He's not as obscure as Travis Fulgham, but I still think a lot of Eagles fans were watching that game today going, who is this guy who Nick Mullins just threw the ball directly to? Did he used to be on the 49ers because Mullins threw it right to him?
Now, Sheil, I know you're playing the part of a host right now, and you're doing a good job. And I know what you're doing is trying to get us to inform the listeners. Yeah. I don't need to inform you though, because you covered him in Seattle.
Yeah, of course. No, 2015,
exactly.
Preseason. I show up, I go in there. He goes, "Oh, my man, Sheil, I heard about you."
Yeah,
he goes,
exactly.
We're gonna have a long history together, my friend. This is just the beginning.
Yeah, former Seattle Seahawk. As far as with the Eagles, he was a CFL standout. I believe CFL Defensive Player of the Year. The Eagles signed him going into camp last year. So last offseason, the 2019 offseason, didn't make the team out of camp, was on the practice squad, got promoted, and was a core special teams player for their on special teams last year, really through the end of the year. Did not get in on defense, though. Did not play a defensive snap. And then this year, the Eagles had 6 linebackers in training camp. He was the 6th one. And we didn't know if he was going to make the team because they drafted these other guys, some of these younger linebackers, Davion Taylor, Sean Bradley, but they kept him because of his special teams ability. And he was getting on the field in some 4 linebacker formations. What was that, last week, I believe? And then TJ Edwards goes down this week, and the Eagles need him in the game and as the Mike linebacker. And so he plays Mike linebacker. He's on the field because of TJ Edwards' injury. And the ball gets thrown right to him. And he said, like, his heart skipped a beat. Like, he didn't say this was a great athletic play. He said it was thrown right to him.
And he basically threw it right to me. He said,
and just ran 30 yards to the end zone. But who is he? Former CFL standout, was on the Seattle Seahawks. A really quick anecdote with him that you will appreciate, Sheil. Last year, so we talked about this on the pod last year, I believe. Yes. Pete Carroll was asked on a conference call about like some like real inspirational thing he told Alex Singleton when he cut him. Like, you were an NFL player, you have a future in this league. And it was brought to Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll had no idea who we were talking about.
Right, of course not.
The oldest coach in the league. Come on.
So,
I wouldn't remember.
But he'll know him now because when he watches those 49ers film, when he watches the 49ers film, he'll see Alex Singleton running to the end zone.
Well, and we gave the Eagles some guff for keeping Singleton on the roster, not because he didn't deserve to be on it, but because I didn't think that he was going to get claimed by other teams, and he was their sixth linebacker. They barely play linebackers. I thought they made the wrong choice in exposing Tanguy to waivers, and then they could have just called Singleton back up. But he makes his impact, and I mean, it was thrown right to him, but the best play an Eagles linebacker has made in how long?
Yeah. All right. That's enough minutiae. Go ahead. You can take the show back and lead us.
I don't know. It's you're throwing me for a loop. I feel like you've already taken that.
I'm coming in hot. Listen, when you show up once a year, you
national guy. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, come on.
Who the hell is Nick Mullins? Oh no.
He was discovered by Rich Gangaroa.
Yeah, I know. This is a real Pyrrhic victory for Scango. Like he in order to win, he has to kill his creation. Yeah. So there you go. Okay, let's get to I guess let's talk about Carson Wentz first, because it's always about Carson Wentz, right? I thought that he was not great in this game, right? But he sort of battled. He's still missing a ton of easy throws, but it seemed like they did a few things to, make things a little bit easier for him. And, he made a couple of really big plays. I don't know, Sheil, you've been watching quarterbacks around the league all day. How did Carson Wentz look to you? Oh,
okay. I didn't know where you were really going with that. I'm not like a
national
watching
guy,
quarterbacks all day. I would say there was a point, I think it was in like the third quarter, where I thought, it wasn't that he looked drastically different, but I was thinking to myself, this isn't a game where like afterwards I'm going to be crushing Carson Wentz, because you just looked at who was out there, the offensive line, the supporting cast. I mean, we've talked about all these different things, but I feel like in the previous games, they were pretty specific. Here's what he's screwing up. But I mean, you are right. I mean, were there throws he missed? Yes, absolutely. He had
that little arrow route to Miles Sanders. Like, for whatever reason, every time he cannot throw the ball to Miles Sanders.
Yeah, I want to watch that one on film, because it was the Texas route, right, where the announcers are saying the middle of the field's open, and
wide
he runs it, and it looked like I don't know what was behind him, but it looked like that could have been a big play. And so there were plays like that. What really stood out, I was looking up some numbers. I was actually able to do some prep because I had some time to kill. So I flossed, I brushed my teeth, I came down. And, I was about to get started on my Monday routine, which is watching all the games that I didn't get to, watching big plays, that kind of thing. But I thought, you know what? We've got an hour to kill before the pod. I'm going to have to write about these teams also, so I might as well do the research now. So I was looking up Carson Wentz's running numbers. And last week against the Bengals, that was a career high in rushing yards for Carson Wentz. This was the fourth highest rushing total of his career. 37 yards. But, those numbers can be misleading. As a guy, when are those yards coming? Do they really mean anything? So I looked up scrambled numbers over the past 2 weeks. Carson Wentz's EPA on scrambles is higher than any quarterback in the NFL over the last 2 weeks. So these have come obviously in very big spots. I don't know how many first downs he's picked up. He's converting third downs. He obviously had the touchdown run today. And so this did feel like at a point, and it felt like this at the end of last week. It was just like, all right, nothing's there. Take off, ram your body into defenders and see what happens. And that's how he's always played. Some people wanted him to tone it down a little bit for fear of injury. Others like the competitive spirit and say, let him cut it loose. But I feel like his legs have obviously been a huge factor the last 2 weeks.
A very small minutiae question. Does that like disregard like a Lamar Jackson like called run?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Just curious. I mean, I thought that you could sort of sense a little bit of, I overstate this, but like a little bit more joy from Carson Wentz in this game than in some of the other games. I mean, they're in the game, so he's going to be happier. But it seemed like he was just into this game a little bit more. I know that that's very subjective, but that's the sense that I got.
Yeah. So I really thought it was December 2019 Carson Wentz. Like you look at the stat line at the end of the game. and it's not prolific, but there are a few plays throughout the game that are game-changing plays that he makes. You know, that 4th and 4 pass to Hightower, the Fulham pass, the touchdown run. You know, I don't want to say it was clutch, but it was tough. Like he made these tough plays. I give him credit there. I thought that he did enough. I thought he made do with really an undermanned team all around him. Like their offensive line was missing. Obviously, Jason Peters at left tackle, so Jordan Mailata was the left tackle, but Lane Johnson was off and on. Jason Kelce missed a few snaps. He was banged up. So really it was no one on the offensive line that you expected going into the year was there the whole game. And then the wide receivers, like we've discussed, Richard Rodgers was like a prominent player in their
Big game
offense.
for Dick Rod.
And so it's very similar to December 2019 Carson Wentz, and he just found ways to make plays. And that's what he wasn't doing these past 3 weeks. He didn't lose them the game. He was making winning plays today.
Well, let's quickly just reset exactly what he had out there. He had Jordan Mailata making his first career start at left tackle.
Playing his first career game, by the way. Like, not to start, like first time playing.
First time playing extended snaps. Yeah. What were we going to say, Sheila?
Well, we'll see what the film shows, but who should be their starting left tackle for the rest of the season based on how little I remember seeing him screw up in his first game against a good defense. Yeah.
He had a bad false start on a 3rd and short, but go ahead,
That's
Zach.
perfectly fine, you know?
Yeah. Well, yeah, so we should just say real quick before we go to the other ones, if you weren't following the Eagles on Saturday, right. Jason Peters has a foot injury at the Bengals game last week, you saw him come off. And Doug Peterson says it was fatigue related. That was because all the tests they did came up negative. Then he was absent at practice on Wednesday and Thursday because of an illness. Friday he complained of foot soreness, which is apparently unrelated to what happened in the Bengals game. He underwent an MRI, so he got put on IR. He's going to miss multiple weeks. But to Shields' point, if they determine Mailata as their guy, that multiple weeks just turns out to be the end of the season.
Yeah, I think that's very likely. So you got Mailata at left tackle. You've got Nate Herbig, an undrafted second-year player, making his 4th career start, his second start at left guard. You've got Jason Kelce. You've got Matt Pryor at right guard, who was benched and basically persona non grata for a while. He's making his second career regular season start at right guard. You've got Lane Johnson, who is like injured and playing, I think probably about 40% of the snaps, maybe 50% of the snaps in this game. And then he's replaced by Jack Driscoll for those other half. You've got Zach Ertz, who, by the way, has done very little this season. And I would say that especially on the same field with George Kittle, his contract negotiations are not having a great start to the season. Dick Rod, as you said. And then the wide receivers are Greg Ward, far and away the leading receiver. He of the career 8 yards per catch. John Hightower, who is a 5th round pick playing his 4th game. Travis Fulham, Fulham, and of course an important new member of the Ham family, the Hamley, who has making his first career catch. You've got Adrian Killens doing all these nonsense motion runs, and he gets his first career catch and a carry for like minus 12 yards. So
that was a beauty.
He's right on the path to Chris Sanders, by the way.
Almost knocked him out of field goal range, or they did until the touchdown pass. Yeah.
And you know what's so funny? Like week 1, they had all those plays where they had negative plays on first down. They did it again today, and they just found a way to sort of overcome it. It's like they're used to this now. But that's who Carson Wentz is playing with. Now, he missed a ton of throws still, like that Sanders one. There was a Greg Ward crossing one he missed.
There was a Richard Rodgers one he missed.
He sort of floated that one downfield. Yeah. But he found a way. And I think this is also like, we're not really talking about the Niners. The Niners were not very impressive in this game, but credit to the Eagles. Like Doug Peterson, again, this team seems to be like counted out, and I'm counting him out. I still don't think this is going to be a great season for them, but credit to Doug Peterson for getting this group of mishmash ready to play.
Well, yeah, the Niners were down their top 3 cornerbacks in this game, and the Eagles had 267 total yards. So this wasn't a
Right.
fireworks show when scoring and yardage and offense is up around the league. If you just want to look at like EPA per snap, they ranked 22nd out of the 26 teams that have played so far. They had 10 possessions, 6 punts, 2 touchdowns, a field goal, and an interception. So, there will be a lot of sort of different narratives to come out of it. And I'm not going to sit here and be the Debbie Downer, because it kind of turned out to be a fun game. And there's, little things to talk about, and they did win. And I thought they were going to get blown out. But, I'm sure we'll get to the defense. That certainly played a role in it as well. It seemed like they were trying some different things, at least, like you said, Bo, a lot of the things I feel like they tried ended up to be these disastrous plays. But you're like, all right, we talked about it Friday, like empty it out. This is the time, try get Jalen Hurts in there, even if it's going to be like a fumble every other time he snapped the ball. Try something to Adrian Killins, even if it's going to be a 12-yard loss that looks like it's going. It looked like it was like
he's like the easiest guy to tackle
something
in the entire league. It's so funny.
So there were certainly things like that. They go for 2, which I'm sure we will get to, but offensively, it was up and down. They tried different types of things, but they did, like Zach said, it really just came down to a few plays, like that throw to Travis Fulgham. I mean, that's pretty much the game. Like, let's be, if he overthrows that, then we're on here talking about how he missed this big play. He had an interception early. The offense only produced 267 yards against the team without its 3 starting quarterbacks. This team stinks. Fire Howie Roseman, fire Doug Peterson. They're going to have a top 5 pick. So it's just funny how 1 to 2 plays like that can really determine what everybody's going to be talking about this week. And now the team is in first place.
But that's, and to your point though, that's football. Like that's what last December was,
that's a nice concussion, Uncle Lee.
No. I mean, last year, like their season was over. Basically, they go into overtime against the Giants, right? And Boston Scott plays out of his, just pulls out these.
I know it's late,
plays.
but let's
plays out of his wear.
They go down to Washington, and Greg Ward catches this game-winning touchdown. Dallas, what was it? Dak Prescott just throws a ball up that Amari Cooper's not on the field, and Sidney Jones makes a play.
There it is.
Yeah. But my point is that it's going to come down to these few plays, and you don't need to be like the better team overall. You just need to be the better team that day. And I think that's the situation that the Eagles are in now. Clearly, they're not a heavyweight. Clearly, they're not. I would say they're not even a good team. But this division is so bad that all they need to do is be the better team than the other team that day, and they'll win enough games.
Yeah, 6-9-1, very well win the division. I
can't believe they're in first place. This is crazy. It is crazy when you look at it now.
I think. Well, go ahead.
No, I was going to ask because the 2-point conversion I thought was very interesting to me.
Yes.
Doug what'd you think of Doug? I thought Doug was very mopey, and was this his way?
I wonder if this is my fault. I wonder if this is my fault because I had the first question.
Yeah, that was
and I let it off with a reference to the Bengals bunt, which I think put him in a bad mood.
Yeah,
I should have just asked more like boilerplate. Why did you decide to go for 2 and left it open?
I thought it was a fair question. I thought it was phrased fine.
I know, but I needed to get him in a good mood.
I think Doug went up there. I think Doug went up there with, you guys counted us out.
Yes.
You guys are so negative. Like you shouldn't be surprised that this happens. I think that's Doug's attitude there. Doug's attitude's like, you guys thought this was a must-win game. We didn't think it was a must-win game. This is who we are. We can win. We just come out here and win. It's like I really think that's Doug's personality with this. That it's his defiance against us.
He definitely went in there with that attitude. I was like, all right, is this did they lose? Was there an ending that I missed here? Was there, did something
He also
go
looked a
on
little bit like Zach does right now, where he just wanted to go to bed.
That might be it.
It's interesting. That's usually Doug on Mondays. Like the Monday at noon press conference sometimes. Doug just looks like, oh man, just, I just want to sleep in right now.
Yeah, well, Bo, you had the first question, and I was watching, and yeah, you said, we talked about the punt last week. I don't think it was bad. I do think if you could have it back, knowing how it turned out, you would have just
phrased
said
it differently.
You went for why did you go for the 2 on the first? You could have said like that ended up being big, and at the end of the game, why did you end up going for 2?
Given him a little bit more of a whiff as opposed to
he likes to take a whiff.
I think I should have done that.
But then I think the next question was like. I forget. I think it was Wentz related. It's like, we know Carson's been really struggling. I'm not going to say he played great, but he did. By that point, Doug was just like, screw you guys. Yeah. So it was funny as a viewer there. But why do you think they went? Have they gone for? They've done this before, right? Where they've gone for 2 on the first possession.
They have done it before.
Okay.
I have to look it up when it was, but I think they have done it before at some point. I recall, but I mean, that's what I read from it was like, I don't care what jabronis are out here. I sent sort of a message last week that I'd like to have back. I'm sending this message that, you guys go win this game. Like, I believe in you.
And like that 4th and 4 play, that wasn't an obvious one either. They could have attempted, what was it, a 55-yard field goal at that point. And he kept the offense on the field, even with the skill guys they had through that slant to a Hightower. That's an aggressive play where I think if he sends his kicker out there for a long field goal, that would have tied. It would have given them a one. Tied it up. That's like a certainly reasonable position.
Yeah, that's why the individual plays again comes back, and it's so funny because let's say they don't get that 2-point conversion and CJ Beathard leads the 49ers and they kick a field goal and the Eagles lose in overtime. That's all we're talking about right now is why did he go for 2? Should he have gone for 2? What was he thinking? Did he overthink it? All these different types of things. So all this stuff is funny. I mean, the Richard Rodgers had like a 23-yard catch and run on the exact same play that they ran 2 weeks ago where Richard Rodgers, it looked like he was sleepwalking and he didn't get out into his route and Carson Wentz took a sack. And so there are all these, and that
was like the slowest rumbling 23 yards I've ever seen.
All I could think about was if they had an athlete right now running this play, I mean, I don't know if it would score. I don't remember what defenders were there, but yes, it literally looked like the slowest tight end in the NFL was getting 23 yards. So good call. But I mean, even with like Mailata, right, it goes back to what we've been talking about for 2 years, where sometimes you give the young person a chance and see what happens. Now, who knows? Maybe on Wednesday after we watch the film, we'll say, all right, it wasn't that great. They were helping him a lot, all these different types of things. But when I watch a guy like Richard Rodgers still, it's like, come on, and this was his best game as an Eagle. So I'm thinking, let's get a younger athletic guy out there and maybe they can capitalize on some of these plays.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Not only is he like incredibly unathletic and slow, he also can't block. So I don't really know what he's bringing to the table at all.
I'm not really sure.
Game situation wise, I give credit Doug for the 2 and I give him credit for going for 4th and 4. I did not like the way they handled that last offensive possession at all.
Oh, how could you? Is that controversial?
Well, yeah, but it was really bad. I mean, with 2 minutes and 1 second left, you're getting the 2-minute warning. You gotta throw the ball there because a first down ends the game. If you pick up, even if it's a classic Eagles offense 5-yard pass, like that's a much better play than handing it off to Corey Clement. That's weak.
Where was Boston Scott? I'm sorry, Miles Sanders. Where was Miles Sanders?
They do not trust Miles. I mean, unless there's an injury that I don't know about. When I'm watching that, I'm thinking they think he's at the most at risk to fumble the ball here, and they don't want to risk that right now.
Yeah, I guess so. That's crazy if that's the case. I figured there must have been some kind of tweak. That's because they went both Clement and Bosco. I thought made that curious. And then the third down rollout, just take a sack it was basically the equivalent of the punting in overtime. It was like, we're not going to try to go win this game, but the defense held up. We haven't talked about the defense yet because the defense deserves a lot of credit, but just quickly on that situation, I thought was pretty bad.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's another process versus results thing, because if the 49ers score a touchdown at the end, then I'm absolutely on here crushing them for being so conservative on that series. And yeah, just to hammer your point home, you're saying they should have thrown on first down because there was 2:01 left. So even if it's an incomplete, the clock's going to stop regardless. It's not like you're wasting, you're not forcing the 49ers to use clock. So yeah, you run with Corey Clement, Boston Scott. And then I don't know. I mean, I don't know why they couldn't just run what was it? Third and I don't remember what it was. It was third and
9, I think. Yeah.
3rd and 9. But I mean, you've got plays in your playbook for 3rd and 9. So it was very much just don't make a mistake. And then he ends up like if he would have just taken a knee, it would have been better. I mean, they're actually losing yardage on that play. I know he doesn't want to throw an incompletion. So yeah, I didn't like that. That was the one thing that kind of went against the other things we've talked about. How about John Hightower on a 4th and 4? I mean, unbelievable. Game on the line. John Hightower. They're calling his number. Like, I think that, they're literally picking a guy off. So John Hightower can be the first read on a 4th and 4 with the game on the line.
Well, what a funny sequence that was. They pick up the 4th and 4 and then
they get pushed back.
And then they get pushed back again. Then they pick that up on a penalty and then they get pushed back again. And then the completion to Fulham. And I do think that like the one of the lessons from this game for Doug and the offense is that you have to take these shots downfield. That was the one of only 2 shots they took downfield the entire game. The other one was the floater downfield to Richard Rodgers that was broken up. I think not a very good pass by Wentz, but that was the second longest completion they've had all season long after the Rager. Their second longest completion they've had since week 6 of 2019. It's like they only took 2 shots downfield all game. They only took 2 shots downfield last week and no shots downfield against the Rams. You hit on one of these plays and it changes everything. They had to bog their way down all game long. This was like the bog bowl. And all it takes is if you take like 4 or 5 shots downfield, you hit one of them, or you get a pass interference that changes the entire efficiency of this normally garbanzo beans offense.
I think the fascinating what if for this game offensively is if Doug doesn't take the penalty on what was it, 2 plays before the touchdown. Boston Scott had the 17-yard gain.
Yeah, it
would have been 3rd and 5 at the 22, I believe.
Yeah, but you never do that.
But I'm saying, but you're in field goal range there. So like, if he doesn't take the penalty, he's basically taking 17 yards, okay, to get you in comfortable field goal range. He took the 1st and 10.
You always take the first, though. That's a no-brainer.
I thought the announcers were going like making that to be a much tougher decision than it actually was.
But then the thing is, so then the first play after that, Jalen Hurts misses and then they're knocked out of field goal range, right?
Yeah.
So that, 1 sack, 1 penalty, whereas if you have a 3rd and 5 at the 22, you have a shot to convert it, and if not, you're in comfortable field goal range. So I agree that you take the first down there, but I don't think it's like a no-brainer situation when you're looking for points.
Yeah, that sequence really was wild. I mean, conversion, lost the 12 on this Adrian Killins. I have to go back and watch that. Illegal contact, like you said, accept the penalty. Bad snap to Hurts. Where I don't know if Kelsey had asked him something, but the camera like zoomed in on Hurts' face, looking at Kelsey like, come on, man. I get like 3 plays a game and you just snap this one.
It was like, he was like, why are you snapping it bad to me? Like,
he did not look happy. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe that was his leadership showing up. But then I want to hear, this can be the last thing on the offense, unless there's anything else. I want to hear from you guys about what Wentz and Fulham said on that play. But I don't know if you guys saw the next gen stats on that bad boy. And it speaks to what you're saying, Bo, that you don't need to have this amazing play where Deshaun Jackson has 5 yards of separation. He had 0.8 yards of separation. He was 1.5 yards away from the sideline. And according to Next Gen Stats model, that completion had a 24.5% chance of being completed. So that was a fantastic throw from Wentz, and not one that we've seen him make this year. And so it was great that he let it rip. And it was great that, just exactly where he placed it. They showed on NBC when he had to throw that ball, and it just landed right in Fulgham's hands.
Well, and to that point, Fulham said he lost that ball in the lights initially and then picked it back up because it was such a perfectly thrown ball. It hit him right in the breadbasket. And it also to your point, stepping and firing, that was the second quickest release of the night for Carson Wentz. So there you go. A downfield shot. You dial one up. They only ran that play once in practice, and they hit on that too. So 2 for 2 on Wentz to Fulham.
Now that day when nobody was at that day when all their wide receivers were was Fulgham the only wide receiver at practice that one day?
No, he was on the practice squad. So
he wasn't.
So that day there was only one guy from the 53.
Okay,
and that was Greg Ward. Now, interestingly, and I saw Bo was talking about this on Twitter on Saturday. So they signed Fulgham to the 53. They called up Deontay Barnette. There's a little roster machination there, and
Mignate.
I call it
and
machination.
And so the argument for that is that if you like Barnette more, then don't sign him to the 53, because then you're going to have to cut him at some point and he's exposed to waivers. If you just call him up and you bring him back down, he's not exposed to waivers. So the thought, and this is a perfectly reasonable thought based on the way they played in camp and the way the Eagles have operated during the past few weeks, is that Barnette was higher than Fulgham in their eyes. But
I don't think that's right. Okay. That's how I read it too. But judging on the way they played, that's not what the case
exactly.
was.
That's that. Yeah, that's my point. Yeah.
And I think the reason for that is that, last week when they had Barnette playing a lot, Ward had to play on the outside and Barnette played on the inside. And this way, when they're in 11, Ward can play in the slot, and you just, Fulham is a fuel game, is a warm body on the outside. I think that's the reason they did that, to keep Ward in the slot.
So let me ask you this too. Next week, let's say Alshon's not ready yet, but JJ's ready. Okay, but JJ's ready.
But JJ, Travis Fulgham has literally done more for the Eagles
exactly
than
so
JJ
Fulgham
ever
played
has.
his way into the Eagles Hall of Fame tonight.
Does Fulgham get those snaps?
Baby.
Does Fulgham get those snaps, or does JJ get those snaps?
I think he gets them.
You think Fulgham gets them?
And you know what's funny is, he's wearing 13. It's Sunday Night Football. Carson throws a game-winning ball right in his breadbasket. This time, number 13 catches the ball with everybody watching.
A little Nelson slander. What did Nelson do to deserve that, man?
Yeah, wow. Nelson he's just at home right now. He's sore from.
You think he's watching?
Game. He's probably on here. We have a lot of. Bo, I'll read some comments then. Maybe if you want to get to the.
Go for it.
Get to the reads we have to do here. Zeberm looks like a hostage. Somebody says.
Sorry.
Hold up a newspaper, Zach.
Nathaniel says, bunch of sickos awake for this. Go Birds. This is torture for Zeberm. People are pointing out that Sheil I actually seemed excited for this pod.
Yeah, it's true.
Zach has my normal misery. So that's been echoed in here quite a bit. Oh, come on. Someone surprised they showed up. That hurts my feelings.
No, man of his word. Yeah.
I'm missing the dress code. I'm bringing the old school crew neck. The crew neck is cool. I don't even. I had to give that hoodie to my wife. Actually, it shrunk. So the crew neck has stayed true. If anyone from the Athletics watching, send me a little size up on that bad boy. I'm up working Zeberm. You can do it.
No, I know I can. Okay. It's just when this pod, yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna be going to bed at like 5 or 6 today. By the time I finish the story,
I'll be up later than that. So
okay.
Hey, I got 2 podcasts to edit too. So.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Got to be up for work in 5 hours. YOLO. See, someone's tuning in, even though they've got to be up for work. Okay, Bo, you want to actually one last thing I wanted to get to on the before we get to the defense. There was the question about why only 1 second went off the clock on the onside kick there.
Yeah.
Talking about, I think the football zebras tweeted out that I didn't know this rule, but if a guy just sort of jumps on the ball like that, like Rich Rod did, I did think of Leela, my 4-year-old, the way he was hugging that ball. That's like Leela and Blue Guy, man. Did you see Rich Rod? I've never seen a guy like hug the ball like that on an onside kick. I mean, he was really having a nighttime snuggle up moment right there. But in those situations, only 1 second goes off the clock. So if the person's not, running or anything like that, that's why that was the case. I know people were wondering if the Eagles got screwed there. Man, Zach has never looked less interested in anything I've ever said. Bo, you better.
Where'd Bo go?
Bo's gone. Bo's out of here.
Bo can't bow out. This is his idea.
All right. Bo is out of here. So I'm going to take this time to. Do you have anything you want to say about Bo? Anyone? Marissa? Zach?
No, but we need to read.
I'll do it. Yeah, I can.
First.
Yeah, I can do.
I will take Bo's if you want.
All right, go ahead. Go for it.
Yeah, because we need to read this one first.
I can do it if you want to get a quick nap in.
Oh, no, I'm good.
No, okay.
Week 4 of football is in the books, and now it's time to review the tape and get ready for Week 5. There is no better place to get in on all of the action than with DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app. To add to the excitement of Week 5, DraftKings Sportsbook is bringing back their can't-miss offer. If you haven't tried DraftKings Sportsbook yet, head to the App Store now because you don't want to miss this. DraftKings Sportsbook is giving all new users the chance to receive a sign-up bonus up to $1,000. On top of the great sign-up offer, DraftKings offers great odds boosts every Sunday to help you make it rain. That's REIGN. Don't worry if football isn't for you. DraftKings is giving all you basketball fans a 200% profit boost on any basketball market once you sign up. DraftKings is safe, reliable, and secure, making it easy for you to deposit and withdraw your money at your convenience. Just download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code TOSS when you sign up and get up to $1,000. That's code TOSS to sign up and get a bonus of up to $1,000 for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older, Pennsylvania only, in partnership with Meadows Racetrack and Casino. The bonus is comprised of a first deposit bonus and a first bet match, each up to $500. Deposit bonus requires 25 times playthrough. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Marissa, any word from Bo? Do we know what happened to Bo?
Nope. I messaged him.
All right.
I'll text him.
No, don't worry. Listen, we can have fun with this. We don't need to, we don't need to bother him. Now, I will say for everybody listening, watching, I mean, if there's one time to subscribe, unsubscribe, rate, review, send this link to, your favorite Eagles fan friends, so that we can kind of bump up the rankings. If I don't see us bumping up the rankings tomorrow, I'm not going to be happy. Some other comments here. Zach, they want to know if the Eagles win the Super Bowl, will you stream an all-nighter?
Will I stream it like
when
I'm writing?
Stream you like all night
while I'm writing? No, I mean when I'm writing, yeah. No, I mean I will do a long podcast, but I'm judged. I'm judged based on my stories, so I would really focus on my stories.
I got this garbanzo beans computer battery.
Oh, back. Okay. Someone said Marissa is going to send us an SOS through the reflection on her glasses.
Yeah, I like that one.
I think that. I think Zebra, where do you get your haircut? I agree. It's looking good. 2:00 in the morning. It's looking great. You want to give someone a shout out? No. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Diego at the King of Shave.
Oh, I like that. Very good.
Did you guys already do the read?
Zach did yours, and I'm gonna do mine because growing up cereal at this time of night is can be very underrated. Now, a lot of times you might think, well, I don't want to have this sugary cereal at 2:15 and then go right to bed when you get older. That's not healthy for you. But what you can do right now is have a little magic spoon. Growing up, cereal was one of the best parts of being a kid. But, you give it up because some of the nutritional issues with some of those mainstream cereals, well, that is where Magic Spoon comes in. 0 sugars, 11 grams of protein, and only 3 net grams of carbs in each serving. 4 flavors: cocoa, fruity, frosted, blueberry. Loyal listeners know that I am a big fan of the fruity, and I would say the frosted is my second favorite. Tastes amazing, too good to be true. Keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, low-carb, and GMO-free. Right now, what you can do is go to magicspoon.com/birds to grab a variety pack and try it today. I know DFOP Christian did this recently. He's going to get his Magic Spoon and Report pack. You can join him. Be sure to use our promo code BIRDS at checkout to get free shipping. And Magic Spoon is so confident in their product. It's backed with 100% happiness guarantee. If you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money. No questions asked. That's magicspoon.com/birds and use the code BIRDS for free shipping. We thank Magic Spoon for sponsoring this post-game podcast.
All right, why don't we talk about the defense? What I thought was a pretty inspired performance, both from the defensive line. And you know what I thought really stood out to me just from watching it on TV was for the first time this season, you saw some real like swarm tackling and guys rallying to the ball. Now the defensive line was great, but that was the thing that sort of stood out to me on TV. Zach, I know you are focusing a little bit more on the defense. What did you think?
Yeah, so really the negative plays. So 5 sacks, 3 and 3 takeaways. We've spoken about the takeaways. The defense hasn't had one all year going into this game. 3 crucial ones, like 3 game-changing takeaways. Yeah. The Roddy McLeod interception took away a scoring drive for the 49ers. They were in the red zone at that point. Or then Cre'Von LeBlanc's his strip sack set up a score for the Eagles. Cre'Von LeBlanc, who we spoke to on Friday. Bo, do you want to just fill in what he said? Because you had some fun with it.
Nobody can put a bottle cap on how far my wings can spread.
Yes. So, like that, a quick aside to our listeners. I think Cre'Von was just like, he was just talking the way he normally talks. Okay. And so Bo asks him today, it was like a Birds with Friends episode where, he thinks Bo thinks everyone's in on the joke. And Bo's first question to Cre'Von was, I don't want to put a bottle cap on your wings or something like that. And Cre'Von's
no reaction.
What's
also funny about that is I'm writing about the Fulham thing. So I'm trying to get a question in on him and I don't get called on. And the next person up, they say, okay, it's, Jordan Mailata's coming to the podium. Bo, you get first question. And then up on the screen pops Cre'Von. So I gotta, I'm not prepared for a question for him. I throw out the bottle cap.
I'll definitely have to look at this video. The guy just played like a 60-minute game. He doesn't know where he is.
I don't know what I'm a question for.
He had no expression. It's just the bottle cap with the wings. But so he makes a big play there, and then we all know about Alex Singleton's play, and then the sacks. And look, I gotta give credit where it's due. I've been hard on Jannard Avery ever since the Eagles acquired him. He showed up tonight. Like he was tough for them to block.
Howie Roseman's like walking onto the team plane tonight, like Vince McMahon, just like strutting because he's like just walking over, taking a big whiff of Jannard Avery's armpit, like just fantastic.
And then I hope I'm not speaking out of line here, but we got a message from a San Francisco reporter tonight asking how did Derek Barnett do against Trent Williams before, and the reason he's asking is because Derek Barnett had a game against Trent Williams. Like
it was the best game of his career.
Yeah, he looked exactly like the number 14 overall pick that the Eagles were hoping that they drafted. Big game by him. And then the interior, I thought Malik played decently.
Hargrave, this was, obviously his best game, which isn't
Fletcher
saying much, but he was all over the place.
Yeah, so
Ridgeway had a very funny looking sack where it was when he just sort of fell on the guy. It was kind of funny looking.
And Josh Sweat got onto the stat sheet as well.
Your boy.
So I thought that the Eagles won the game at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, 5 sacks, 15 quarterback hits. In terms of EPA per snap, they had the 3rd best defensive performance of any team this week. So it's a sort of a much different story than the offense. Yeah, Barnett was killing Trent Williams. So I think Trent Williams has been playing great for them.
Yeah, people have been like talking about how great he's been playing.
So far this season. So he was giving him the bull rush and all kinds of stuff. So that was interesting to watch. Jim Schwartz, I want to give Jim Schwartz credit because I crushed him 2 weeks ago against the Rams when I thought McVay ate his lunch. And today Schwartz kind of ate Kyle Shanahan's lunch. I mean, I know they're dealing. I don't know how much you can do with a Nick Mullins playing like that, but still, like there were plays in that game. There was that stunt early on that led directly to the Avery and the Hargrave sack. I thought they, for the most part, had a solid game plan. I'm sure we'll get to the Kittle stuff here, but Avery had the pressure that led to the Rodney McLeod interception. Josh Sweat's sack that killed the drive. Cravon LeBlanc had the sack fumble. And then, of course, like you mentioned, Alex Singleton with the pick six. So they allow 417 yards, which is, once CJ Beathard came in and went up and down the field a couple times, that's going to juice that a little bit. 11 possessions, 4 punts, 3 turnovers, 3 touchdowns, and the turnover on downs. This was one thing I thought was interesting is that Nick Mullins, the expected completion percentage stuff, his expected completion percentage was over 75%. Which was the 3rd highest of any starter. So there were, he was making throws that
he missed a couple of really bad throws.
That you would think like an average starter would make, but
we say the same thing about Carson Wentz though.
That's true. You take those breaks as you get them.
Well, the Kittle thing was pretty funny. So he finishes with 15 catches for 183 yards and a touchdown on 15 targets. So they were 15 for 15 throwing to him, and he had 183 yards of the 338 passing yards, so more than the rest of the team combined. And it's funny looking back on, the Jalen Mills smirk answer during the week, like we got a plan for George Kittle. Turns out the plan was let him get whatever he wants and try to stop everybody else.
Yeah, I think they were going with the opposite.
I think that was Nick
Belichick.
Gary's answer, actually.
Oh, Gary, you're right.
Was
yes.
it Gary? I thought it was Mills.
No, I think it was Gary, which was even worse, right?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. Belichick always gets the, take away their best thing. Let their best thing do whatever they want. The rest of their guys are going to
take away everything else. Yeah.
By the way, this was what Shield just said. It was before you guys were on the beat, but 2016 actually against the Falcons. The Falcons went to the Super Bowl that year, right? And Kyle Shanahan was the offensive coordinator. And they were really good coming into here. And Jim Schwartz and Julio had this huge game against the Eagles. And Jim Schwartz said in the press conference the following week was like, yeah, our plan was like, let Julio get his. Don't let anyone else on the team beat us.
Huh.
And the Eagles had the best defensive performance that year against the Falcons of any team, I believe. So I don't know if that was actually Schwartz's strategy tonight. Was like now Brandon Ayuk had a terrific run. Debo didn't do as much as I
don't know how much he played. Yeah, I would like to see his snap counts. I don't think he was out there a ton.
But I mean, outside of Kittle, like Bo said, the other guys didn't really beat him.
Well, how about that 2-point conversion that the one the 49ers had to try?
Yeah.
I mean, what is Beathard? I wanted to see another replay because it really looked like he could have walked backwards with his eyes closed into the end zone, and instead he flips it to Kittle, and I think Kittle's face was like, "What are you doing, dude? I thought you were just about to run into the end zone." And so I don't know who to blame for that one, but that obviously ended up being a big play. That doesn't get counted in the official stats. Someone was asking, well, he was 15 for 15. What happened there? But that last drive, the defensive line dominated. I mean, Brandon Graham knocks an official over. Jannard Avery with the big
how
hit.
About that? How about like how soft is that official?
He was selling it a little bit. Yeah, it didn't look that. I mean, far be it from me. I'm a very, I get injured getting out of bed. I'm a very frail person. I'm very weak, but I don't know. I think I could have gotten up.
That was pretty soft. Yeah. And then the game that, it's a huge play because it stops the clock. So yeah, that was pretty nuts. But yeah,
you say that like, yeah, I mean, Brandon, a 260-pound guy runs into you, and you're saying, "Oh, that's a soft official."
You're the guy who said you wouldn't cry or whatever if you got hit in a football game.
When was that? Like 3 months ago? That was like last year. That really stuck with you.
Yeah, seriously, you had that like in your holster, ready to fire.
I don't know.
Oh man, I thought.
Bo,
it was also funny.
Shields, you missed these.
It was also funny watching that play on replay because Brandon Graham. It looked like he went out of his way to hit the ref. Like it was nowhere near the play. He just
I thought it was poor spatial awareness from the ref. I mean, like this huge guy is right. He's not far from you.
It should have been right in his periphery. It was like he was trying to draw a foul.
No wonder the officiating sucks so bad.
Yes, well, elsewhere on the defense, I thought the linebackers didn't play particularly well, except for Singleton's interception.
How do you
And
trust a
then-
guy to see what's happening on the field if he can't see Brandon Graham right next to him?
Also,
on his
Graham's like
way?
the
we
loudest
should know-
player. You know, he was probably yelling something.
You could smell him coming.
We should know that Jalen Mills started at cornerback tonight, moved from safety to corner. Kayvon Wallace got the start at safety. So we were wondering how the Eagles were going to approach it without Avonte Maddox in the lineup. It was moving Mills over.
That's true. Yeah. I'm interested to see how Kayvon Wallace looked on film. He missed, I think, a couple tackles, but he didn't seem terrible.
I mean, everyone will. I think if you isolate the 15 Kittle plays, everyone's going to look like they're the worst player in the league.
Yeah.
And the rest of them, aside from the Ayuk one, they will probably look fine. But it didn't seem like they threw at Jalen Mills. I mean, I guess Mullins wasn't really throwing at anybody. I mean, it was just like get the ball out of his hands, and he was being pressured there. Darius Slay, that was an unbelievable. That could have been a touchdown on the Hail Mary. I feel like that was a great play by him.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I thought Beathard threw a good ball, and I think the Eagles are actually fortunate that Darius Slay is not more injured right now because Mike McGlinchey,
tough SOB now.
Yeah, Mike McGlinchey hit him right in the knee. Like that could be a hyperextended knee. That could be a bone bruise. That there could be a lot that was, and Slay was right back in the game.
Twice back-to-back weeks now. He's had to leave with an injury and come back.
Yeah.
That play, the Hail Mary from the TV angle, it looked like as it was coming down after it was tipped, like it was about to fall into the chest of the 49er who was on the ground.
On the ground.
Yeah.
Definitely had a chance. Yeah, it was almost visions of the Super Bowl there with the last play. But I don't think at first I was like, why aren't they just batting it down? But the ball was, I think it was Kittle. It was like in Kittle's hands, right? And Slay sort of knocked it out, and then he just tried to get his hand on it again, and it popped up again. But anyway,
can I give you guys my grouse?
Sure.
I hope it's who I think it should be.
Well, the grouse for this game. I mean, we are 7 months, I think, now into a pandemic that has killed like 200,000 plus people in this country, let alone around the world.
I'm going to go blow my nose real quick. That laughter got me. I'll be right back.
The president is in the hospital with the coronavirus because he and his cronies don't take this stuff seriously and like performatively pretend like it doesn't exist. The league has had to postpone 2 games this week because of it. I'm sorry, but the idea that like wearing a mask is a novelty and something to make fun of is ridiculous and inappropriate. Yeah. And I think the broadcast did a really bad job. That's my grouse.
My ears hurt.
Yeah, no, I actually agree with that. I thought it was
Michelle, you look great with the mask.
Yeah.
Are they aware that kids are going to school and wearing masks for 6 hours a day with less complaints? I mean, unbelievable.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's not hard.
When he said his ears hurt, I was like, dude, move on.
Yeah.
No one cares.
This is normal life right now. It's not a novelty.
And it's one of those things that I think they were like hyper aware about. It just don't have the stand up before, right? You know, like if you don't want to be seen in it, don't have to stand up before.
Just
it didn't need to be a talking point.
Yeah, exactly. That's what
everyone
I feel
watching sees other people in masks all day long.
Right. I feel like the only reason they were talking about it is because we saw them in it. If they just did the game in the masks, we wouldn't have noticed. I think.
But also, even if we do see it, like Sheil said, like that's what we're seeing. That's what we should be seeing every day. I agree
so,
like, yeah.
I just thought it was. I thought it was an unnecessary talking point. Like it was.
Yeah, I totally. It's too too cute. So anyway.
Then again, who are we to talk about unnecessary talking points?
Well,
right.
That's certainly fair. All right, what else? What else we got to get to? I know Zach wants to get out of here, but I know Sheil wants to stay and hang around for a couple hours.
No, I think we got
first place. I mean, we should acknowledge, like first place in the NFC East.
Well, all right, let's go to that now. Let's end with that. How does this change your, I think last week we were giving our record predictions about what we thought they were going to be. How does do the events today. It's not just them winning, but it's the Cowboys losing, Giants losing again, Washington losing again. How does this change your view of the season going forward?
So I had the chance to watch that Cowboys game today, and that defense looks broken. Right? I don't know if there's like a quick fix for that. So they're gonna have to be in those, and they've been in shootouts. It seems every week, because we've been in the Eagles press box, and they've come on against Seattle, and they've come on against Atlanta. So I guess they're gonna be in those shootouts, and they have that great offense. But at 1-3, and they're gonna lose some games here. I certainly think that that they're not going to run away with the division, and I think Washington and the Giants are bottom of the league teams. So I think the Eagles are absolutely in conversation for the division. Now, I don't think the Eagles are a top 6, top 7 team in the NFC, but I think that if they can either beat Dallas or split with Dallas, then they'll be in the conversation in December, just like they've been the past few years.
Yeah, I would say
we have quick fan check-in. We have fans checking in. We have a South Korean fan. We have a fan from Australia here.
Jose.
Okay, sorry. What were you going to say, Bo?
I would say that I still think that the Cowboys are favorites to win the division. Just because even though their defense is broken, they have a working explosive offense, and that matters more. However, I really do think that it's going to, I think 7 wins is probably going to win this division. This game doesn't change that much about what I think about the Eagles 2020 team in a macro sense. But if Carson Wentz is a little bit less broken, and this was like turnover wise, this was sort of a fluky game. You're not expecting the Eagles to get 3 turnovers every week, but if the defensive line is going to be this dominant on a close to week in, week out basis, there's upside. I think they can certainly win the division. They could get to 7, 8-1. I think that's
the crazy thing is that tie could be the difference.
It's true. It really could. And what is unfair about that is that if that happens, it's going to be like, oh, what a masterstroke it was for Doug to take the tie. It wasn't. You didn't have to punt to take the tie. You could have still gone for it, and there was still a good chance you would have tied.
Exactly. The most likely outcome either way was going to be a tie.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
But I would say, if you're an Eagles fan, it's one of those things like, is it worth it to be 7, 8-1 and win the division? And I think it probably is. It's always worth it to get into the playoffs. But no matter what happens, the performance the rest of the year should not paper over what we have already seen about the broken foundation on this team.
Sure, you're right. Yep. And the one other thing I would, and I'm curious our national reporters' opinion on this, but this is something we all looked at pretty closely. It seems to be a good year for rookie wide receivers, and it's just going to put Jalen Reagor under the spotlight here. Now we can't. It's it's premature to even evaluate Jalen Reagor, and he has the injury, and we'll see how the season goes. But you watch that game on Thursday night. Jerry Jeudy looked outstanding. You saw CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, 2 weeks in a row here, and he's doing it from the outside, which was kind of the concern. Brandon Ayuk, athletically, looks really good. And CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb obviously looks great. Henry Ruggs was hurt, but it's going to call into question this draft pick if Reagor does not work out.
Let's move on, fellas. Quick recap at 156. If we are doing a podcast, how does this harm you? Do you not know how to turn off your computer?
Yeah,
come on, OJ.
Go to sleep. Yeah.
I mean, really, what are you doing, OJ? Come on.
He's probably looking for the real killers.
Let's be better than that. On a bright note, if you want to do a half glass full with Reagor, you could say all these rookie receivers, they didn't need an off season. They're contributing right away. That maybe he gets back healthy and really gives the offense some juice. So, he
looked good when he was healthy.
I thought he looked fine. Yeah. So I'm mostly where you guys are. I mean, they definitely could lose the next 2 to the Steelers and Ravens. I think they're 8-point underdogs next week at Pittsburgh, and I would imagine they would be at least touchdown underdogs against the Ravens, even though that game is at home. So it's one win, but I think when you say would fans rather have them be in the playoffs or not be in the playoffs, I mean, I think the way fans will be feeling when they listen to this and Monday, like that's the point of a football season is to have a team that's into it, that gives you a reason to watch every week late into the season. So I think that would certainly be the preference.
Yeah, I mean, they lose the next 2 games, and then they have the Giants. Let's say they win that game. Then you go in to play the Cowboys. You're 2-4-1, and you're probably playing for first place again.
Correct.
So there
it's
you go.
Gonna be the same year for like a decade. Just everyone says
no one's gonna believe
it can't be any worse than last year, right?
Yeah, nobody believes in us. Nobody believes in us, and then
all of a sudden there's some late Cowboys game.
Well, yeah, maybe this was just a genius start to the season for the Eagles, because they have learned that they're not able to play until they're completely out of it and everybody's injured, and so they just got to that point quicker this year on purpose.
It's true. It's like, and it bothers me so much when I hear nobody believes in us, because like you're 0-2-1. Are they supposed to be planning parades for you right now?
Yeah.
Like what's the
This is a good comment from D-Train. Says, every time Z-Berm is looking at his phone, I'm sure he's texting contacts at ESPN and the Inquirer to see if they need an Eagles writer without podcast required.
I came here. Right? Like
but you didn't really know what you were getting into.
Where I want to be. I did not know fully the podcast responsibility. I love the podcast, except when it's 2:40 a.m. So.
By the way, quickly, I got an Instagram message yesterday from Zach's lovely wife telling me that I think she said that this was okay if I said this, telling me that she made Zach put the phone away so that he could get some rest, but I was then in charge of letting her know if something happened that he needed to know about. Which way too much responsibility for me.
Yeah, because you could really take that in many different directions. I feel like, it's.
And what's funny is, and so so they put Peters on IR, and I'm like, this was a few hours after the initial message, so I figured you might have already had your phone, and I said, just so you know, it's not worth like waking him up for, but they put Jason Peters on IR, and then I go to Twitter, and like Zach has already tweeted about it.
Yeah, it was a point of contention yesterday.
I have trouble putting my phone down too, Zach. So
thank you, Marissa. Yes,
you need to like lock it away.
Exactly. It's football season. This is my job.
That's why we're doing podcasts at 2:40 in the morning.
Okay.
All right. Any last words before my computer dies again? Marissa, how are you holding up?
I'm doing good.
I don't.
Okay. I'm actually thinking about having a bowl of cereal.
There you go.
So the next primetime game is, I believe, the Giants Thursday nighter, right? In 2.5 weeks.
Might be paternity leave for me.
Oh no! Then I was just gonna say I won't be making any promises to join that one. But if Bo's out of here, then I have no choice.
That's your favorite. Yeah, there you go.
I feel good. Talk to me tomorrow. If I stay up past midnight, I usually wake up with a headache. So we'll see.
Okay.
All right. I got to write.
Get it.
All right. Yeah. Well, that'll do it. Thanks to everybody for listening, and especially to those of you who tuned in on YouTube to watch us live. Thanks to Sheil and Marissa for making it happen. Zach, we've got some work to do. I might not get any sleep tonight, but yeah, it was worth it. The Eagles are in first place at 1-2-1. So thank you all for listening. Remember to download and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all that good stuff. You know, we're doing a late night one, so you can hook us up. Maybe leave a comment on Apple Podcasts. Sheil's smirking at something. I don't know what it is that he's looking at.
I'm looking at our chat, and multiple people are saying that Zach's been looking for other jobs during this podcast.
No, I love my job.
We look at his phone. His monster.com up there. He's sending cold call LinkedIn messages to people.
You know what? This is a lot different than like being in Atlanta and we have like a flight in 2 hours and Bo's like, so how's the College Football Hall of Fame yesterday?
There you go.
Okay.
Well, thanks to everybody for listening and for watching. For Marissa, Sheil, Zach, and Travis Fulgham, I'm Bo, and as always, we love you.